Test. Hello there. Hello there, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well tonight. Come on in, make yourself comfortable while I do the obligatory and traditional fiddling with the tablet. Justin Finn is in the chat. Hello, hello. How's it going? Good to see you. Turn that volume down. And there we go. I think we're in good shape. How's everybody doing tonight? Good. Thank you, Justin, for letting me know about the audio. Hey, happy Tuesday evening to everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. Let me start off by thanking everybody who dropped by and saw the episode 4 of the big, well, huge. It's not big, it's huge. It says huge right in the title. The huge Atlas collaboration that ASM Arctica and Let's Find Out ASMR and Tingles with Flyby and I have been working on. Episode 4 went up on my channel over the weekend, and I really appreciate all the very kind comments that we've been getting on that. We appreciate it. Hey, sad egg, college has got you busy. Well, if you're in college, that needs to be the priority, but I appreciate you stopping by and saying hello. That is awesome, and I hope it's going well. Didn't even know you did these. 3 a.m. in Ireland. Well, thank you for being here, first of all, and I appreciate that, and shout out to you in Ireland. They're always generally just kind of randomly done. I generally don't schedule them. They're just kind of impromptu, guerrilla streaming most of the time, but we have fallen into a bit of a habit, and we've been here the last 4 Tuesday nights, I think. So Tuesday night is starting to turn into a thing, but yes, so I do them occasionally, but a little more often here lately. Hello, Starscream. Thanks for joining us. But anyway, like I was saying, I just wanted to say thanks for all the great comments. If you're a subscriber to any of those other channels that I just mentioned, then you probably had already seen episodes 1 through 3. So this was number 4. I don't have, in terms of ways to get the word out, I know a few people mentioned that they hadn't heard of it before, and of the collaboration. I know I mentioned it on my Twitter, and I mentioned it in the streams that I've had. I don't, being such a small channel, I don't have that. I don't remember what the tab's called when you can send out messages that go out to all of your subscribers, in addition to videos. It's like community, or that's not it though. It's something, I don't remember what it's called, but YouTube has not seen fit to give me that yet, so I don't have that option as outreach. That's kind of what I always intended. Community posts. Thank you, Kyubi, you were on. You were in the chat last week, weren't you? From Oregon, Colorado, somewhere up in the Northwest, right? Yes, community posts. I don't have the ability to do community posts yet, so I don't have that ability yet. So I put out some stuff on Twitter and in the streams. But now that my turn to host an episode finally came up, now you can see that on the channel, and the links to all the other collaborators and all the other videos in the series are in the description for number 4. So now it's easy to access everything that we've done so far. We shot enough material for 9 of those episodes, so we will keep putting them out roughly the first Monday of every month until we've put out all 9. So if you like that sort of atlasy, looking up stuff, pointing at things and finding things with coordinates and all that kind of stuff, we've got a lot more of that coming your way. We just take turns, so that means I'll do episode 8 in January. Will be the next one that shows up on my channel. But you should definitely subscribe to all of those fine folks. It's been quite a blast working on that collaboration with them. So hope everybody's doing well. We're just going to hang out, play with some trigger objects tonight, and you get to tell me what we're going to talk about by your participation in the chat. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with. I have the standard selection of oddball items tonight. Let's take a look at them quickly. Exploring with ASMR is in the chat on the Tuesday night. Good to see you. Should we skip straight to the food? Yeah, that's right. We did, what was it, cheese and cheesecake and other things last week. So yeah, you'll have to pick Love Angel Music Lady. What are you looking forward to in autumn? Well, we can talk about that the entire stream after we look at these items, because fall is my favorite season by a crazy margin. And I had fall on my mind just yesterday, and that's why I have this flash bracket as one of our items tonight. Thank you, Justin. I know the watch videos seem to be the most popular on the channel, right behind the map videos. So people dig the watches. So why I have this flash bracket and what it has to do with fall. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Last night I went out to try to shoot a video that I was going to call summer walk, summer trail walk, something like that. It ended up being a little bit of a bust because I discovered that I need another little bit to my mobile gimbal setup, a little shock isolator that would go between the bracket and the H2. But the reason why I was out there trying to record is because while we are still in the dog days of summer, it is September. And September has a bit of a, what shall I say? Hey, Rowan, how you doing tonight? Welcome. Thanks for being here. As soon as the calendar switches from August to September, my mind it can't be stopped anymore. My mind starts really getting preoccupied with the impending arrival of fall, because October, of course, is the month that is so associated with fall. And by the time September gets here, it's right around the corner, and so then I'm full on anticipating fall mode. So, so I was thinking last night when I was trying to shoot this poor video on this trail, the experience drove home even more strongly how much I'm looking forward to fall, because it was a pretty hot day, which I was willing to put up with because you wouldn't be able to tell that in the video anyway. But so, it was kind of messy, kind of sweaty. I don't spend a lot of time on trails in the summertime anyway. But also, I was fighting these swarms of biting flies, and was thinking to myself, yeah, here's another thing I generally don't have to put up with in my favorite season, autumn. So I am ready. I am ready for it. I love everything there is about fall. The colors, the air temperature. I love being outside in the fall because the ground vegetation starts to thin out, so your visibility starts opening up, especially if you're in nice ridge and valley terrain. You can stand on those ridge tops and really look out through the woods and see all the ridges in the distance. Not as good as winter, of course, but fall's got that wonderful balance. You've got the leaf fall. I don't know. It's just the whole thing. The whole thing is it's just my jam, and it's funny. And you're absolutely right, Jared. It it feels so much shorter than all of the other seasons, even though mathematically, by the calendar, right, it's exactly the same length as all the other seasons. But I think there's a sweet spot of the weather, between the weather and the colors, depending on, the colors kind of change north to south. So depending on, what part of the planet you're in as to where or when the colors change for you, and combine that with the weather that you're getting at that time, how rainy it is, it can often seem sometimes like you only get a weekend or two of a really good fall, and then it's too cold or it's too rainy and winter's upon you, and you ask, what happened to my fall? I got to put up with a hot summer for months, it seems like, and I spend the whole season waiting for fall, and I get a weekend, right? So that's what it feels like. Hey, Colin. More vinyl record videos. Oh, I checked out Pokey Lafarge. That's awesome. I don't know. I assume that given enough time, I might do another vinyl thing. I've done the two seem like enough for now, but given enough time, I can always come up with more albums to talk about. Tell me what you thought of Pokey Lafarge, by the way, since you listened to him. Artful Entity, hey, thanks for the comment, and thanks for being here. I'm sorry, I'm supposed to be showing off more items. Oh, sorry about that. This is the calculator I use in the huge Atlas collab to do my latitude and longitude conversions. And we've got the soft plastic button sounds on these guys. So yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for fall. The kids, the kids' fall break is in October. Ready to go down to the Red River Gorge again and go on all the unmarked, the unofficial trails and find arches and stand underneath them and feel very, very small in the grandeur of nature. So we've got the calculator and the plastic buttony sounds. I'm glad Jared is here because we have this. It's not a tea bag, but it may be the next best thing. Of course, there's the added challenge with the M&M packet that we've got to practice self-control and just use it for sounds and not tear the thing open and stuff them all in my face. Jared and I are of like mind when it comes to this particular trigger, and it's also an exercise in subtlety because this thing almost just triggers itself. You know, you almost, there's no, you can't manipulate it subtly enough, you know. Skittles, M&Ms, and Snickers, that is a bowl full of triggers right there. That's a thing when you do triggers on an ASMR channel, you start seeing trigger objects everywhere. All around the house, triggers. Such as the very simple items like the paper towel tube. Got the somewhat rough cardboard, but then the tube kind of serves as its own kind of mini resonance chamber, like a flute. So we've got that tonight. We also have this glass item here, and we have our trusty brush handle pointer. And the hope is that this combination might provide us with something subtle that is pleasant. Perhaps. If you were in the States, we just had a Labor Day holiday last weekend. Did everyone have to work? Was anybody able to take an extended weekend? What did everybody do? So we have that item. And then lastly, I guess, we have this poor blue bowl, and every week it ends up with more things in it because I still haven't emptied it out from the pencil rummage video. So it still has the shavings and the 3 pencil sharpeners, and now it's got these wooden spools from last week in it. So it's always good for a few sound effects. Rummaging around trying to find exactly that right thing. Okay, I think we got to lead off with the M&Ms. So how was everybody's weekend? And is anybody else besides oh, Colin, I'm sorry, I'm just reading your comment about Pokey. Django Reinhardt, sure. The Tiny Desk Concert, yep. Oh. Hey, Jeff Smith, thanks for being here. Kyubi saw A Quiet Place. Okay. So did you, I assume you saw that at home? Since it's not in the theaters anymore, I don't believe. So how did you like that? And did you happen to get any sort of advance impression, or did you read anything that communicated to you that you really want to watch that movie in as quiet an environment as you can? Because that's no joke. We're talking A Quiet Place, Jeff, the recent movie with John Krasinski and Emily Blunt, which I absolutely loved. By the way, I'm all about it. I thought it was a very, for just a relatively small piece of work. It was so tightly built. It was so efficient in what it was trying to do. I just thought it was just a fantastic ride. Pitch black and dead quiet. Good for you. Yes. Oh gosh. Yeah, I was lucky enough to actually see that twice in the theater, once with each child, and man, what a yes! Hardly ate any of our snacks because we were mesmerized. Absolutely. I mean, it really got to you, right? Because you really felt like you could get, and obviously not, right? But you felt a little bit like you could get the characters in trouble in the movie if you made too much noise. You, I mean, so often, in modern media and modern cinema, you're being bombarded with light and sound, right? So you can pretty much make any sort of little sounds like eating and stuff like that, and you'll never ever be the loudest thing in the room, right? Because the movie or whatever media you're consuming is completely crushing you with an onslaught of input. And A Quiet Place is not that at all. And it you end up catching yourself realizing, holy crap, if I eat this popcorn, I'm literally going to be the loudest thing in the room. And that's just, oh, mind blowing. Mind blowing. The sound design, if you haven't already, the little YouTube videos behind the scenes talking to the sound designers and stuff like that. It's fantastic stuff. Well, in fact, I don't know if you caught it, but the little YouTube trailer that they put together to announce the DVD release of A Quiet Place was set up like an ASMR video. The two sound designers were there doing ASMR triggers as a way to announce the Quiet Place release. I'm serious. That was a thing. Yeah. And this just in from Love Angel Music Lady, mulch is on sale at Home Depots. So there it is. No, it's a good weekend for all that kind of stuff, of course. Yeah, it's just a great use of suspense. Um, I have not seen The Dark Tower, but you want to talk about use of suspense as a thing to drive anticipation for future, um, uh, but as yet unknown events. Sorry, and I hesitate to even say the word because I don't want to give anything away for people in the chat who haven't seen it yet. But there's one inanimate object in that movie that was given what was imbued with almost supernatural um, ability to generate suspense. And maybe you know what I'm talking about when I say a small inanimate object that was in one scene and then came back later and was a big deal, right? You know what I'm talking about, folks that have seen that movie. I have never seen such a small, unassuming, inanimate object be set up to be such a linchpin of suspense uh, than I saw in that movie. It was unbelievable. And the second time I saw it with my daughter, as soon as that scene happened where that Sorry, I keep dancing around it, guys. Yes, Kyubi knows what I'm talking about. When I saw that the second time with my daughter, as soon as that inanimate object appeared in the way that it appeared, she gasped and looked right at me. We were both just cringing because you're thinking, oh my gosh, they showed us that for a reason, and then you're freaking out until you because you're waiting to understand how is this going to be used and what horrible stressful situation is this going to create later. Art Dizzle, how you doing? Yes. Yeah, Krasinski must have researched. Yeah, I know he did some rewriting on the screenplay that he was given. I think two people wrote it to begin with, and then he did some sort of a rewrite on it. So I think he's co-credited for writing on that movie. Hello, Alberto. Thank you for being here. But Kyubi, did that have the same effect on the people in the room when it's so simple, right? But they had already done such a good job of communicating how high the stakes are by that point that when you see that, it's like, oh my gosh. Yeah, just masterfully built. Just fantastic. Yeah, I just that's the kind of movie where you wanna try to see it again with more people who haven't seen it before, just so you can enjoy the first time reactions. We're talking about A Quiet Place. Hello, let's find out. How's it going tonight? Kyubi out in Oregon just saw A Quiet Place with a bunch of friends here recently, and we were just talking about that. Okay, sorry, Jeff. You're still talking about Dark Tower, right? Yeah, I apologize. I haven't seen that one, and I have not read that book either. Yeah, that labor scene. That was a one take. Did you realize that? Emily Blunt did that scene in one take. Yep, one take. Emily Blunt's not fooling around, yo. So Jeff, um, what's your opinion on that Dark Tower about um, how did they do with the source material? Was it relatively faithful, or you know, faithful enough for as a movie adaptation? She's very blunt. It's comedy gold. Yep, I'm loving that movie. Unfortunately, since it has a horror reputation, I cannot get my wife to watch it because that's not her thing. Even though I would say that it's much more suspense than horror. Anything painted with the horror brush, and you can't get my wife anywhere near it. And I'm all about the first Alien movie. Did you see the little star I put by that title when I wrote it on the piece of paper in the pencil rummage video? Yeah, the original Alien. That's I think Sad Egg just got the joke. I have not seen Annihilation yet. So you recommend it? But if you're okay with what you're calling sci-fi horror, I'm sure A Quiet Place would be okay for you. You should give it a try. Hey, Summer Music. Good to see you. Are these button sounds coming through at all? How was your day? Summer Music says, yeah, please chat it up about your day. I love it when you guys are talking amongst each other, so please do not hesitate. Not too bad of a day here. It was my first work day back this week, so I was in a little bit of a catch-up mode. Some end of fiscal month reporting type stuff I had to take care of. I hope everyone else had good Tuesday. Are you talking about the original Hellraiser from like the 80s? I probably haven't seen that since I was in high school. We would have, movie parties. All of our group of friends would get together at one person's house, and we'd pop stuff in and stay up way late and just watch silly stuff. We're big fans of Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi's Evil Dead stuff. And the Dawn of the Dead stuff, of course. Well, I'm saying Night of the Living Dead was first, but Dawn of the Dead was out when we were in high school, so we would watch that as well. We knew those things backwards and forwards. We'd watch them so often, so it was more like just I don't want to say it was just on in the background, because we were following along in all of our favorite parts, but Cold Hunter is in the chat. Everybody say hello. Hello there, Cold Hunter. Even back in the day, when when the first and second iterations of all of those style of movies, the Friday the 13th stuff came out, I remember not being super duper impressed. The slasher aspect never really. I mean, I got it. I understood what the goal was, but it didn't didn't really do anything for me. That said, of course, I'm very much looking forward to seeing Jamie Lee Curtis reprise her Laurie Strode character for that Halloween movie that's coming out. Hey, it's Decaf Math. You said some kind things in a comment recently. It's the first I had heard from you. Welcome. Good to see you. Night of the Living Dead was a crazy flick, Alberto. It was low budget. George Romero was the guy, and just some black and white camp, but he essentially created an entire movie genre, didn't he? You could probably draw, a straight line between Night of the Living Dead and any number of zombie franchise properties that are, going on today. I mean, I know, Walking Dead is based on Kirkman's graphic novel of the same name, but surely Kirkman was, influenced by all the zombie classics. Yeah, suspend disbelief for. Did you watch any of the Walking Dead series, Kyubi? Hey there, Jared. Jared, yes, welcome. Because the interesting thing about suspending disbelief is if you're going to be on the zombie bandwagon at all, you kind of have to go in with accepting the premise that you may not know why or how, but there's zombies walking around. And so once if you go in and say, okay, in this universe that can happen, then I mean, for me, it doesn't matter what the property or the franchise is. If I'm willing to flip that switch in my head, then that's like the entrance criteria for any of the zombie properties, I think. Yeah, I completely sympathize with what you're saying, Kyubi, and it's interesting because I'm on both sides of that, right? Um, I actually would. I argued to people in the early years of The Walking Dead that was the real that was the real power of that show, is that it wasn't really about the zombies. The zombies were the setting. It was about all the rough choices that the survivors had to make in order to try to keep to keep alive, and the way the tribalism and the us versus them, and the complete mistrust of everybody, that was that was the thing that drove the dramatic narrative. But unfortunately, later on, that exact same characteristic, the the horrible decisions that humans were still making, and the unkindness, when you started getting into the Negan storyline, that's the thing that finally drove me away from the show. I guess I like some of that, but it got so dark and so oppressive, and we were losing people that you really became attached to over the years. And I'm not saying that I automatically don't like a show if a character I like dies. That's unrealistic. But it got so bad, I just couldn't. It wasn't entertaining to me anymore, and I finally had to let it go. And I mean, I saw the Negan scene, but I hadn't actually made it to that part yet. And I saw it, I intentionally spoiled myself, and I said, you know what? If this is where it's going, I'm going to go ahead and bail out now. So I bailed out the season before that. Hey, Jennifer Meister, welcome. Thanks for being here. The Road, okay. I'll check that out. I appreciate that recommendation. Thanks, Decaf Math. It's good to have you here. I checked out a little bit of your channel. How's that? How are you enjoying your experience as a creator so far? Gosh, everybody's seen The Road except me. I got to get on that. Oh, Viggo Mortensen's in it, huh? Well, I could probably get my wife on board with that then. She's all about the Viggo. So yeah, I probably come across a little bit. Okay, Ardizzle, understood. Book of Eli, yeah, I did see that one. I guess movies are the topic for this evening. I have not seen Hereditary. Hello, Nate Sexton. Thanks for joining the chat tonight. Cold Hunter, like a single person perspective, huh? On the one hand, I do think there is a danger of saturation, I suppose. I mean, I do wonder how many more different zombie topics you can throw out there. But at the same time that I say that, there was that that show, the Santa Clarita Diet on Netflix. Anybody see that? Talk about a different twist on the zombie genre. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Santa Clarita Diet. I thought I laughed and laughed. I mean, everybody knocked it out of the park in that show. Somebody wanna? It's it's essentially the story of a suburban family where the wife in the family discovers that she's become a zombie, and then hijinks ensue. And Drew Barrymore, of course, is the zombie mom. And it's very frank and very graphic and very funny. I have not seen Pushing Up Daisies. You will find in our exploration that I don't actually watch a lot of TV, but if I catch wind of something that I think is going to be up my alley, then I'll usually obsess on it and then binge it. Zombie comedy, that's right. There's been others. You've got Shaun of the Dead, right? The Simon Pegg. Uh, wow, that's an interesting premise. Astral ASMR, welcome. So good to see you again. It's been a while. I've had a really, it's interesting that you mentioned week to week viewing versus binging Astral. I've had a really interesting data point on that recently that I've been able to compare and contrast because we were binging, mostly my daughter and I, we were binging The 100 recently to get caught up to season 5. And then we watched season 5, weekly, as they aired, as the new season aired. So we saw them the same time everybody else did. And I must confess that of course I grew up in an era where, weekly viewing of your favorite shows was the only, option. So you grew accustomed to planning around shows that you cared enough about to plan around, right? That's not really a thing anymore. But I will confess that after binging 4 seasons of The 100, watching season 5 one episode a week, I did find myself enjoying it a little bit more because I was able to process it a little more deeply when I only get one episode and then get to think about it for a week before the next episode. When you're binging, it's kind of you're kind of cramming the whole story into short-term memory. Then you look back on it 6 months later and you realize that you don't really have the retention that you wish you had or you thought you did. But when you watch one episode and then you get to think about it for uh, a week, you get to think about theories and kind of really process motivations and stuff like that. Comparatively, I think I enjoyed it more. Hey, Austin. Thanks for joining us here. Appreciate seeing you. Yep, I agree. I agree with everything you guys are saying. Of course, back in the day, it was weekly or nothing. Hey, Austin. You really followed a weekly series for a decade? And that series was? I mean, when we were watching Star Trek and stuff back in the day, that was all weekly, and The Next Generation was on when I was in college, and we would all pile into one of the lobbies of the dorm halls and, all watch the brand new Next Generation all together, trying to get a feel for it, trying to decide if we liked all these new characters. 3 a.m. every Thursday for Naruto. That's outstanding. Wow, really, Austin? What was so good about that show, Austin? Apologies. Okay, okay. I haven't seen it, but it's a little difficult for me to imagine Gooding as OJ. I bet that was some good acting. It just occurred to me if I had a way to hold this up, it'd be nice to get some actual pencil sharpening sounds on the stream, but I would get the shavings everywhere. Slight sounds. Hello, Slight Sounds. It is wonderful to see you this evening. Hey, Dizzle, I have no idea where these bowls came from. It's actually a plastic bowl. The stuff that's inside the bowl is making all the sounds. These spools and these little pencil sharpeners. Yes, yes. I handcrafted these bowls with the with an eye towards optimizing their ASMR properties. Clearly, you're absolutely right. What's up, Slight Sounds? Everybody go check out Slight Sounds ASMR if you haven't, by the way. She's got a style and spirit all her own that I'm sure you'll all appreciate. And you got to catch Slight Sounds streams when she does them as well, because if you're lucky, you'll catch it at just the right moment where something amazing and catastrophic happens with her gear, and that's Taco Bell. I wish I had some Taco Bell. The best part of any Slight Sound stream is the inevitable dropping of something or crashing something into something. And please forgive me. You know, I mean nothing by that. It's just it's tradition at this point. I did not smack this mic, although I did put it on mute for a moment. And when you take it off mute, it makes this unpleasant thunk sound. So everybody got to hear that. Oh my goodness. We've been talking about movies tonight. Have not seen Akira. You're talking about, is that Akira Battle Angel? Is that what that is? Is that already out? I've lost track a little bit. Cold Hunter. Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. I'm thinking of Alita. That's the name of it, isn't it? Alita Battle Angel. Yes, Akira is the older anime. So sorry. You're right, of course. Cold Hunter. ASMR Immune. Cold Hunter brings up a good point. So, Cold Hunter, you're telling us that you don't have a lot of motivation to watch a lot of actual ASMR content because of the immunity. So I can sympathize with that because I'm 90 to 95% immune myself. But is there not any other sort of benefit, a relaxation or a stress relief, anxiety relief benefit that you still get from ASMR content, even if you don't actually experience the physiological effect? Yeah, it has a very relaxing impact on me, even if I don't feel the tingles. And Ardra, who I love, put out a new video after months of being away today, and it was almost instant hearing her voice and the way she delivers that cadence of hers, right? I couldn't watch it because I'd checked out a little bit of it at work, and I couldn't keep it on because it was almost like hypnosis, like instant hypnosis. It was like flipping a switch. It was unbelievable. Well, yeah, I was just curious if, any of the other kind of conventional benefits of the content, you were able to feel those things. I was talking about Slight Sounds, Cold Hunter, if you're asking who I was recommending a minute ago. I've said it before, I always love it when, established artists and particularly ones that might have a bit of a reputation to be more kind of high concept or role playing or world building will still put out such effective and patient trigger videos. And as I'm listening to this sound, I hope you guys can hear it. I'm reminded that Ephemeral Rift just put out a wood sounds video today. I think it was a patron request or something like that, but man. Just it's great when you can work both ends of the media and be equally effective. And he's a guy that doesn't feel the tingles either. So I don't actually get to see Cold Hunter. I don't get to see as much content as I want to either. There's only certain things that I can watch at work and still certain things help me work, but certain things zone me out too much, so I can't look at them or listen to them at work. And then when I'm home, I'm busy and doing stuff, so I don't get to do as much of that as I like. Yeah, Slight Sounds brings up an interesting point. The whole notion about if you see a creator commenting on a video, then they must be self-serving in some way. And I will confess that, you know, I generally stopped commenting because I was worried about that perception a little bit, but then at the same time I was annoyed at myself for falling victim to that, because it's like, what do they expect? Do they expect all of the creators to also maintain a civilian YouTube presence, so that if they want to actually say say something nice on a video that they enjoy, they have to do it with a disguise. I mean, it's ridiculous. I love seeing creators interacting with one another too, although, to be fair, a lot of the times when you're commenting on a video of a very, very popular creator, there's not really any interaction going on there. They're really not in a position to be able to answer comments and really interact in that kind of a way. I would like to see more of that, but if I had a channel that size and I had that many comments on each video, I wouldn't be able to do it either. So I get it. Yeah, I think I agree. There's definitely a perception, I guess, that the ASMR community is nice, quote unquote. I mean, I'm sure there's the same spectrum of personalities to some degree that are in every community. I I don't feel qualified to comment too much on that because I'm just not able. I just don't quite have the bandwidth to really network as much as I think I would need to in order to have an opinion on that. I'm not able to engage in all the various social media platforms that I see all of my peers engaging in. Hey Daniel, welcome to the chat. Good to see you. I mean, when I see things on Twitter like big creators like texting each other, so that they have each other's phone numbers because they're texting. It's like, huh? Well, okay. I mean, I don't. No, nobody's texting me, right? But but I don't. I'm not able to devote the kind of time that I think you need to cultivate that kind of network, right? So that's why I can't really comment on that kind of stuff because without that kind of networking, you know, uh, most of the people that I have networked with are small channels like me. Um, so it's tempting to say, well, the community is a little bit stratified, right? That the small channels kind of interact with the small channels, and then the big channels all seem to know each other, right? But I got no big channel talking to me. It's tempting to say something like that, but it's unfair because you know at least half of that is my own problem because I I'm not spending any capital or calories on reaching out and trying to be more of an active networking presence. So you can't really. That's a flawed set of data, and I would be in error to try to draw conclusions from that. But you and I know each other, right? Slight sounds. I mean, we don't know each other, but hey, we say hi and we're friendly, so that's good. and like exploring and, you know, and, the folks I'm working with on the Atlas things. I mean, well, a couple of them are, pretty big now and they're getting bigger all the time. But, most of the people that I have any interaction with are, small creators. I don't know, maybe it's because you feel some sort of resonance with someone who you feel is on the same piece of the journey that you are. Maybe maybe that has something to do with it. But it's all good. I like finding smaller channels because that's where I find the more unique or interesting stuff. It's also scary reaching out to big creators. So, slight sounds, when you say reaching out, you mean actually trying to contact them, individually, rather than just through a video comment or something like that. Jojo obviously said. Yeah. I mean, I've only been doing this a couple of years now, but I remember early on already feeling subconscious about, I had a brand new channel, but I was, really a big fan of certain creators, and I made a few comments, but I don't know. I was just, I think I was imposing that on myself. I'm not sure that was um, a real concern, but I was self-conscious about it, so I didn't really do it that much. I hardly do it at all now. Hey, JM0, I'm sorry, BIUS. I don't know how to say your name. Do you think ASMR comes off as cringy? I feel like I would have gotten made fun of in high school for it. That's actually an excellent question. Um, I think the level of cringe um, is very highly correlated, or the inverse, with whether you feel the sensation yourself or understand the effect that it has on you personally. Meaning, um, for me, the first time I heard about ASMR being a thing was in Andrea Siegel's report she did on the NPR program This American Life. And I was in the car and I was, listening to this for the first time. I think it was on a weekend. And as she was explaining her first experience with ASMR with her friend who would, when they were girls, she had a friend that would kind of organize things and touch, shell collections and stuff and talk about the shells. And she talked about, the tingling sensation. I had this I had this OMG moment, in the car because I knew exactly what she was talking about. And she mentioned Bob Ross in the piece, and I said, OMG, I know exactly what you're talking about. So if you've experienced that, then I think that takes some of the cringe factor out when you see now newly produced content that tries to trigger the same response, right? Because you understand what they're trying to do. That's not to say that it'll be successful, and these days the genre has kind of subdivided and subdivided and subdivided, and it's got tentacles going out through all sorts of different subgenres, trying to, whatever. There's a lot of different motivations, right, for people who are out trying to do things that they label ASMR. But I think it's a lot more cringy when you've never experienced it, you don't understand what that feels like, you don't understand why this thing that you're watching would be appealing, because it's 100% subjective. It may be one of the most subjective media, ever, right? Because what what works for you is completely different than what works for the guy next to you, and then the other guy doesn't experience it all and never will, right? So I think it has a lot, almost everything to do with with your personal level of susceptibility and empathy with the feeling itself. Yeah, millions of views, I know. I've heard about that. I've heard about ASMR videos getting millions of views. I've heard about that. That happens to some people. Has anybody seen that Netflix special that people are talking about? I've been kind of afraid to watch it. I read on Reddit that it's, a little deceptive and that it's not very sympathetic once you actually get into it. So I kind of didn't want to mess with it. Yeah, that's what I heard too, Daniel. You saw the Netflix episode Slight Sounds? Hey there, Nate Sexton. If I haven't said hello to you yet, good to see you. Yeah, I'll give it a pass then. I trust your guys' judgment. Yeah, I honestly struggle with what the best way is to explain the topic. And frankly, I'm not sure I've heard much better an explanation than that original Andrea Siegel piece on This American Life. There's a YouTube video of it out there that with the audio from the piece. I think I think the subjectivity of it makes it will make it forever a difficult thing to talk about. Because I think people who don't understand it assume that, well, that maybe it's an effect that everybody feels, and that it's like turning a crank, right? If this is content that is made to trigger ASMR, then all I have to do is listen to it and I will feel ASMR. And when that doesn't happen, then they're left wondering, why are they watching this thing that they think is odd and strange. And it's tough. I don't know what the best way is to kind of demystify it. The media likes to show the most obscure parts of vids. Yeah, I kind of doubt that there's any, mainstream media pieces on ASMR that are talking about trigger videos, are they? I bet they're talking about the sexual stuff and, the kind of outlandish role play stuff. Am I right? You don't see a lot of wood sounds videos in these mass media pieces. I'll bet. Hey there, King Cow. Welcome. Thanks for being here. It's good to see you. Yeah. Yeah, Kyubi has got it right. Yep, you know what's up. I didn't mean that either. Yeah, the ear licking stuff. Yeah, I mean, if you're leading with the sexual stuff, you color the entire discussion, right? Because you can't take that back. So if you're talking about trying to make a first impression, yeah, you're probably right. Let's find out. I don't know. It seems all very far away from just, hanging out in a chat with a couple of dozen friends and tinkering with sounds. And that's pretty much where my interest is. An outlet to slow down. You are absolutely right. I have talked about that many times. I was actually going to mention that in my channel trailer. The notion about the things we can notice if we just slow down and pay attention. As soon as we get the dining room table back in place, I'm going to start working with my son on that channel trailer. Can't wait. I'd like to... Well, I'm just excited about what that can... what I can try to get across in about 2.5 minutes. Kind of get my philosophy across. Hey, you're always welcome, King Cow. We've been kind of doing this every Tuesday for about a month. I'll probably need to shut her down, and probably at the bottom of the hour, because I do have work tomorrow. Well, Kyubi, I have been in the habit lately of leaving the streams up for a week, and then, I mean, they're always available in the streams playlist. So I let them cook up there for about a week, and then I unlist them, and then they're available on the playlist. Safe place. Well put, Daniel. I think you're right on the money there. I don't think, I think you're rewarded for, how much you can multitask and how many things you can do at once, and whether you can keep up with the onslaught of input and media and color and sound. But there's something to be said for just focusing on one thing for a minute. Think of all the things you can notice when there isn't so much competition. So much competition for our attention. Yeah, I'm right there with you, Kyubi. I think I'm from a similar generation, and I'm in a workplace with lots of different age groups, and it is noticeable, I think, that the younger engineers in the place do seem to have their multitasking ability seems to be quite a bit better than mine. King Cow, thank you for your comment about my voice. I appreciate that. Favorite sound to listen to? What's your favorite noise to make? Slight sounds, email. Yeah, on my About tab on my channel, the email is listed there. It's Gaslamp ASMR, all one word, at gmail.com. Favorite sound to listen to and favorite noise to make. Favorite things to listen to are always subtle sounds. I like subtle sounds that are very nearly unintentional. So it could be wood or metal or stone or glass. It's not really the material as much as it is that it should be subtle. I clicked on a channel just today, actually, that I had not heard before, but it had a channel title that made me think that I might like them, and the person, and bless them. There's room for all content types, of course, but the person was just banging on stuff like rapid fire and just loud. It's like, okay, pass. It's all good. It's all good for some, but I'm much more of a subtle type. The accompanying moral sophistication. Yep. The Welsh stone carver. Oh. Well, I got to check that out. Hey, Whack Noodle. That's a great username. Welcome to the chat. I actually think we're going to be shutting it down pretty soon, but please do rewatch it on the channel if you're just joining us. This has been another really nice get together, guys, and I really appreciate everybody being here. I love the directions that you guys take the chat. It's a really, well, it's just a meaningful time for me, and I appreciate it. Patrick Powell says hello. Hello there, Patrick. Good evening / morning / afternoon. Well, thank you, Daniel. I appreciate that. I'm hoping to shoot a video in the morning, but I did not do a good job of setting it up beforehand, so might have to put that off until Thursday, but we shall see. 2 more hours of that cardboard tapping. Well, listen here, you're just going to have to take your paper towel tube that I know you have and continue the tapping in your next stream. How's that sound? How did I end up coming across all the old stuff I have? I don't know. I mean, when you're interested in things, you just notice them. If you're in bookstores and things like that. I mean, I don't come across that stuff as often as I used to. I used to be a little more active about kind of seeking that stuff out. And the watches, I have a small collection because because I had the one from my childhood, that is in my first video from a couple of years ago. And so when I got out of college, I pursued that for a while and collected a few more. And I still have them, so I don't know. It's stuff you come across. I honestly don't remember where I got that Collier's Atlas. Hey, King Cow, yeah, writing sounds, writing on paper, that's a big trigger for a lot of folks. And it's one of the most unintentional sounding sounds, right? Because no matter what you write, it has that nice random pattern, the different combination of the upstrokes and the downstrokes, yeah. Especially if you have a nice rough paper, that really speaks when you write on it. Yeah, absolutely. Love writing sounds. Oh yeah, Sharpies and markers, that's a whole different that's a whole different style of sound, isn't it? Those two, that kind of felt, whatever the tips of those markers are made of, the way they go across cardboard and paper. It's a whole different thing itself, isn't it? Chalkboard writing. Good point. Chalk isn't really a thing anymore in schools, is it? I think it's all dry erase markers and stuff these days. I don't know if well, and I'm really talking about elementary schools, of course. I mean, and my kids are both in high school now, and they've got Chromebooks, and they're doing all their stuff electronically through Google Classroom these days. But yeah, a blackboard or a green board with a tray in front with all the half-used pieces of white and yellow chalk, and all the little troughs in the metal tray have chalk dust in them, and then the erasers filled with chalk themselves, and if you barely touch them together, they blossom with a bloom of chalk dust that you try then not to breathe in. Yeah, that's how it was. That's how it was back in my day. Jacket and button down sounds perfectly. Well, yeah, I mean, especially, well, he did this well before, but he moved to the Rhodes, I think, the NT1As, sometime in the last year, and boy, you hear every movement of fabric that he wears in those videos. It's very present, isn't it? Yeah, smart boards. Yep. Colored chalk, absolutely. You've got me wanting to do some sort of chalk sounds video. Matt Dodd, welcome to the chat. Thanks for being here. Watch collection was on point. More collection videos, huh? Well, I'll have to think of a I don't have as many bona fide collections of things as someone like Relaxing ASMR does. That guy, I can only imagine what his house is like, But the place is like living inside of a treasure chest. He has a bit of everything. He absolutely does. Chalk collection video. Hey, Mustache Judo, thanks for being here, and dropping the mic with the outstanding suggestion. Chalk collection video. Solve both as requests as once. Yeah, I think you're onto something there. Geography teacher role play. I don't know, guys. I don't know that you're ever going to see a role play out of me. It's I just don't have it. It's just not in me. I mean, I respect those folks that can pull off those role plays. But hey, Kelly, hello. I apologize if you're just joining us. We're getting ready to shut this down, but it'll be available on the channel to or just teach us. Well, we shall see. I appreciate all the suggestions and your enthusiasm, though, for a small channel with a small audience like this one. It's super gratifying to hear you guys, your level of interest in this kind of stuff. So I really appreciate that. It's the kind of thing that keeps me going to the next video and the next video, Even my name sounds relaxing. Are you talking about the gas lamp part? Keep cranking them out. I will do my best. Matt Dodd. You guys are keeping me talking with all of your awesome comments and questions, so I appreciate that. But I must adjourn. It is just saw you shot outdoors footage. You guys, no, Rich, the outdoors footage was, I was attempting to do a summer walk video as kind of a lead in to fall, but I realized I need an extra piece for my flash bracket to isolate the H2 a little bit better, and I was fighting these ridiculous flies the whole time, so I was going to do a voiceover on this video, but I'm scrapping that one, and I'll go out and do another one after I get this new little isolator, little shock isolator between the flash bracket and the H2. Like if I'm doing a half-hour walk on a trail and I'm holding the gimbal, I know you guys know what I'm talking about. Even though the gimbal doesn't weigh that much, you can't just hold that out in front of you for a half hour. You have to kind of switch off from hand to hand, and the hand switching was causing too much of a jarring sound in the recording, and didn't really want to. That's more of a post-production thing to if I had to go in and snip all of those things out. So I need a better shock isolator. So I will still do a summer walk. I'm not sure what it'll be called. Before the colors change. Maybe it'll be out next week. Yeah, that would be a lot of editing. And not that I'm against editing, but I'm against editing that is needed because I have too sloppy of technique to make the raw sound as quiet as it can be. So I don't want to make work for myself just because I haven't gotten the right, shock isolator. So that's kind of where I'm at there. If you could do any sort of ASMR vid that you can't do now, I don't know. I'm not sure what you mean by can't do. Meaning where I don't have the equipment, or there's a technical reason why I can't do it. Thanks, Rich. And hopefully I've already got the isolator on order. It'll be here Thursday, so I should be able to get out in the following week and do that. and then that'll help all of the gimbal videos down the line. So it's a I'll probably put a junk drawer video together where I'm installing that thing. Okay, guys. Hmm. I guess the and I've talked about them before. The two that are at the top of my list that I need help from my son for is one is a good channel trailer, and then one is the pharmacy student video that I've been talking about for over a year. I have a good sense in my head of how I want those two to go, but I need help from him for both of them, and we need our dining room and dining room table to be put back together. So those would probably be the top of my list. Thanks, King Cow. That's very kind of you. I look forward to seeing you around more. Okay, everybody, let's go ahead and call it. Thank you so much for your wonderful, spirited comments this evening. It seems like every one of these is a little bit better and more fun and more interesting than the one before, and that's all because of you guys. So keep coming back, and we'll keep having silly, tangential conversations like this, and hopefully it'll be continue to be good and enjoyable and relaxing for all of us. Okay. So thanks, everybody. Again, these streams are always available in the ASMR radio playlist on the channel, and they'll stay up public for a week after the night of the stream, but you can always find them in the playlist. Okay, so if you want to look back and check out any of those older ones, they're always there for you to peruse. And don't forget the junk drawer playlist as well, with a bunch of casual non ASMR behind the scenes stuff that I do in there. So thanks, guys. You guys are really kind. Let's try to do this again in a week. Okay. Everybody, have a great night and a great tomorrow, and we'll see you all very soon. Take care.